I'd like to call the regular meeting of Monday, August 26th to order. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of reflection? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Marcella, do you mind doing roll call, please?
Councilmember Condi?
Here.
Councilmember Malone?
Here.
Councilmember Nielsen?
Here.
Councilmember Solario? Here. Councilmember White?
Here.
Vice Mayor Pineda?
Here.
Mayor Weiss?
Here. Ron, item number, Mr. City Manager, item number 2, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I get the honor, the privilege of introducing our first new employee tonight. I think most of you have met her by now, but we have Katie Gregory. She has joined the City of Avondale as our newest Assistant City Manager. She comes to us with more than 3 decades in local. I didn't write this, by the way. I would never put those numbers in there. But it was written, so I'm reading it. And 10 years of executive level management. Katie's background includes strategic planning, public finance, economic and community development, and general administrative services. She began her career as a Parks and Recreation professional and has maintained her passion for connecting with the community and improving the quality of life. Katie has a master's in public administration from ASU? Yay, ASU. And has spent most of her last 25 years serving the West Valley in the cities of Glendale and Peoria. Her innovative approach to problem solving and her commitment to excellence have consistently driven positive outcomes in the community she has served, making her an invaluable addition to the city's leadership team. Katie is married to Mike, a retired Parks and Recreation professional, and has 3 children. I love this part. Embracing their independence and walking slowly into adulthood. I don't know a single teenager who walks slowly into adulthood, but I love it. She spends most of her downtime driving her kids to and fro sporting events and school events, or hanging out at home with the 3 pups, Orville, Wilbur, and Amelia Earhart. Katie.
Thank you, Ron. And I just want to say, my interview process, I actually forgot one of my children. So I'm very happy that this here actually has all 3 of my kids in there. They asked me which one I would actually get rid of, and I don't know. But I have an idea, but I don't know. I'm very excited to be here. Council, I'm very pleased to have been selected to be here with Avondale. I'm looking forward to a great opportunity. I see this community as something that is just right on the verge of a lot of greatness. And I'm here to help with that, steer it in whatever direction council asks us to go. And I'm very excited to work with this amazing group of staff that I've had the pleasure of meeting with over the last month. So thank you, and look forward to talking with you as we go on.
Did you want to share something more with us?
I'm not going to share that, Mayor, and it's not true.
If anybody has a question, just ask me later on. I'll tell you all about it.
2 good reasons not to share.
You've been with us now for how long? A month? A little bit longer? 6 weeks?
Month, yes.
I think as you found out or you've learned over the last month, this is probably much different than the other cities that you've worked for and worked with. So we're excited to have you here. You know, Charlene had been with us for a long time. Charlene is an incredible woman, incredible leader, and we have no doubt that you'll fit right into this family. So thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting the job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mayor.
And I will not share it with anyone, I promise. It's nothing bad, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is our presiding judge, Craig Jennings, and our court administrator, Brill Riz Ortega, to introduce the next group of employees.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm honored to be here tonight with the Brill, and Sheree didn't come down. Sheree, one of our supervisors, is also here. But we have 2 new court employees, both court clerk 1s. We don't have vacancies very often at the court, you may know, but these were created, 1, because of the new employee that we were granted by the City Council to run the photo enforcement program, so that was an internal promotion. That created one of these 2 vacancies, and then we had somebody that was with us for a while who had her first child and decided to stay home with the child. So we can't blame her for that. But first, I want to introduce Andrea Sanchez, not Andrea, Andrea. Okay? Sanchez, she joins us. She joined us on July 22nd of this year. And then also we have Juliana Ramirez, who joined us 2 weeks later on August 5th of this year. Ladies?
Vice Mayor, council members, thank you for having me, and I'm really excited to be here.
So where did you come from?
I came from Independence High School. I'm was not a student. I worked
Thanks
there.
for clarifying. Okay.
Yes, I came from working at a high school as an attendance assistant.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
We're glad you're here.
thank you.
Tell us about you.
Basically in the same boat as her. I came from Imagine Avondale down
Yeah.
the street, and I was also a paraprofessional in the special education department. So
We're so glad you're here. You've got a great team you're working with.
yes, I do. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm excited to grow in the city as well.
Enjoy. Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Craig.
Next up, we have Renee, our Director of Budget and Finance.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I have the pleasure of introducing to you Nayeli Carranza. She started with the city on July 22nd as a finance specialist. So she assists with the administration of the Finance and Budget Department and with employee travel for the city. Nayeli previously worked in some temp contracts through healthcare and construction, and she worked for the Arizona Department of Education for the ESA program. Nayeli has a Bachelor of Administration degree from ASU, and she's an Avondale resident and is aspiring to improve her tennis game by year end.
At one of our tennis courts?
Yep, Festival Fields.
Hey, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Even though ASU's football team is horrible, their public administration program is excellent. So congratulations.
But nice to meet you.
Good meeting you. Thanks.
I lived in Avondale for over 10 years. So
Where'd you go to? Did you go to high school here?
yeah, I went to Awafria,
Okay, good. Owls. Owl Pride. Awesome.
A-rated school.
Good seeing you. Renee, where'd you go to school?
Kofa High School.
No, college. I know you're from Yuma. I know from Yuma.
Arizona
Oh, okay.
University.
Okay.
Yes.
The Arizona University, is that what you want to say? Okay. All right. That's awesome.
All right, up next we have our Mr. Mayor and Council. Up next is our Director of Human Resources, Andy, will be up here to introduce his 2 newest employees.
Andy, are they from Maricopa County?
Mr. Mayor, they are not. Tonight's my pleasure to introduce James Corliss and Greg Lockmont, who have recently joined the Human Resources Department. So James joined the City of Avondale as risk manager on June 24th of this year. Prior to joining Avondale, James spent 25 years with UPS, holding a variety of positions before retiring in 2023. During his time with UPS, James served as District Case Management Supervisor, where he was responsible for overseeing risk management and workers' compensation programs for the Southwest region of the U.S. James received his bachelor's degree in history and political science from the University of Massachusetts at Lowell. And in his free time, James is an amateur race car driver with the National Auto Sports Association. He also enjoys traveling with his wife and golf. And this is James.
So tell us more about the racing.
How much time do I have? 3 minutes?
No.
We're going to need more time. I'd be happy
Well,
to.
what kind of cars do you race? What kind of?
I race a 350Z car.
Okay.
In Class B.
Which is obviously short track?
It's circuit driving. We go to Arizona Motorsports Park, Podium Club, a couple other tracks, one in Denver and one in, well, they call it San Diego, but it's...
And you're the risk manager and not the safety officer, right?
That is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm going to get that out of the way right now.
That my professional life and my personal life not be judged side by side.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mayor.
He strikes a great balance of the two. Greg Lockmont joined the City of Avondale as safety officer on July 8th. Greg relocated from Kennewick, Washington, where he worked as safety training coordinator for the City of Pasco. Prior to that, Greg worked in the fire service for the state of Oregon and the City of Pendleton, where he rose to the rank of assistant fire chief. In his free time, Greg enjoys hiking, boating, and used to like snow skiing. Greg and his family spend the majority of their weekends at the ball fields. Both his daughter and son play competitive softball and baseball. So please welcome Greg.
So, Greg, you moved from the Northwest to Phoenix in June, right? May?
July.
Even worse. Not getting any better. So your first impressions were?
Well, my first day of work was 117 degrees, so my wife and kids were still back home. And so I thought, oh no, I may have made a mistake. But they've been down here and they're loving and enjoying it so far. So.
It'll cool off the next 30 days. So we're glad that you're here. Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Next up, Mayor, we have Lieutenant Lopez from the Office of Public Safety to introduce his new employee.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm introducing Jill Kruger, our new Policy and Procedure Analyst. Jill comes to us from the South Holland Police Department in Illinois. She started with South Holland back in 2001, worked 23 years, and retired as a commander. During her time, she worked in creating policies and procedures, which is now why we hired her for the Office of Public Safety. She and her husband left the minus 10-degree weather to come do the outdoor activities here in 110-degree weather. So we welcome her. She's going to be a great asset. It's Jill.
Cub fan or Sox fan?
Cubs fan.
Awesome. I grew up in Oak Lawn, so.
But I grew up in Bridgeport, which is shocking because we became Cubs fans out in Bridgeport. So we got a lot of slack for that.
At least we're not Sox fans this year, right?
Excuse me?
At least we're not Sox fans this year.
That's right.
Welcome aboard. Glad to have you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, next up we have our Public Works Director, Kirk Beatty, introducing his group of new employees.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. I'm pleased to introduce some new employees at the Public Works Department. I don't have a video for you this evening, but I've got a couple of pictures, and I've got three folks here in person today. So first, I want to introduce Christopher Ruelas on the screen above. He joined the city in June as a wastewater collections operator. His responsibilities assist with cleaning and maintaining our wastewater lift stations, our sewer lines, performing our sewer pipe inspections with our closed circuit television inspection program. Christopher previously worked with the Arizona Department of Transportation, doing the same type of work, cleaning the storm drains for the city's freeway system, and also doing some roadway repair work. The next person on the screen is Anthony Arona. Anthony rejoined the city just this month as a water distribution operator. He has 6 years of experience in the water distribution field, including some time with the city of Phoenix. He worked here at Avondale from 2020 to 2023, left us for a little while, but came back, and we're certainly glad to have him back on our team. Outside of work, Anthony is a sports buff. He enjoys playing basketball, fishing, and hunting. So that's the folks that are on the pictures. Today in person, we have, first off, Willie Hall. Willie joined the city of Avondale in June as a wastewater collections operator. This is a new career for Willie. However, he has several years of experience operating construction equipment, and he possesses a commercial driver's license with a tanker endorsement, which is really a key license for our wastewater collection operators. He's excited for this opportunity and the new career here that he's embarked on. Next is Ryan Garrett. Ryan joined the city of Avondale in June as an environmental technician. Ryan's new to Arizona, and he comes to us with over 3 years of experience at the San Jose Water Company in California, which is one of the largest water systems in the United States. He has a Grade 2 water distribution certification and a Class A commercial driver's license. Ryan is the second of our two new environmental technicians that we've recently hired who are responsible for regularly sampling our city's water to make sure that we stay in compliance with state and federal regulations. Outside of work, Ryan enjoys cars, computers, gaming, and using his ATV to explore the network of off-road trails in Arizona. And then finally, our third person is Jasmine Alarcon. And Jasmine joined the Public Works Department just a few weeks ago as our customer service representative. Jasmine is originally from New Mexico and moved to Arizona in 2014. She has over a decade of customer service experience with a significant portion of her career in the financial, credit union, and banking industry. Jasmine most recently worked in human resources at a Valley Concrete supplier, so HR people just forget I said that. It was during her work in the financial industry that she discovered a passion for making positive impacts on people's lives, and she was actively involved in a committee called the Random Act of Kindness Committee at one of her employers. She's quickly learning the tasks for a new position here at Public Works and learning the importance of the daily operations to keep the city running smoothly. She's genuinely excited to be here and eager to collaborate with those who share a commitment to growth and well-being of Avondale. Please welcome our new members of our team.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Ron, item B, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Now we're going to have a presentation by our city engineer, Kim Moon, and Rick Carr, our CIP division manager, on our wayfinding master plan amendment. Basically an update to direction council gave us several months ago.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I'm Kim Moon, City Engineer. On the agenda this evening, item number B2 is for a presentation update on a gateway monument sign for the Wayfinding Master Plan. In 2015, the Avondale Wayfinding System Master Plan was developed with sign types, potential locations, and sign designs. Included in the master plan are gateway monuments. 4 of the 6 monuments originally identified have been installed to date. The remaining 2 have some utility conflicts and are being modified. In June 2023, the council requested an updated design and new locations to be identified. This evening, Rick Carr, the city's CIP division manager and project manager for this project, is here to provide a presentation on updated design and additional locations. We also have here tonight representative from J2 Engineering and Environmental Design. So with that, Rick.
Thank you, Kim. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Adam Hawkins is here from J2, as Kim indicated. As background, again, Kim went over a little bit, the 2015 Wayfinding Master Plan. We developed a system, included our citywide brand identity, aspiring, achieving, and accelerating slogan. Had 3 unique themes to Avondale: cotton, racing, and education. The monuments are funded from general fund, and as Kim indicated, 4 have been completed, and we got feedback from the council in June of 2023 about a new design. So shown here are 4 of the completed monuments: the southwest corner of Dysart and Indian School, the southwest corner of 107th and Indian School, the northwest corner of 99th and McDowell, and the southwest corner of Avondale and I-10. We have an image of the design, which is 12 feet high and 3 feet wide, shown in the middle of the map, which has our logo, color, and cotton theme. And then there's a photo to the side of the map, which shows the installed sign at 99th and McDowell. Per council's comments in June of 23, we wanted to add welcome to the sign. We wanted to reevaluate the size, and we wanted to consider natural materials. So the first step for our new design, we started with looking at other local monuments to determine design precedents for features that make a good monument, like size, materials, character, lettering size and font, and distinctive elements. So here are some signs, monument signs that J2 has designed locally, and our sign is highlighted there with the red circle and shows a height comparison. We also looked at city monuments nationally for design precedents as well for those same features. The new proposed design vertical versions are shown here. They are internally lit, have Welcome to Avondale are 27 feet high. On the vertical aluminum element on the right side of the image are applied graphics or eternally lit graphics. And then they have elements unique to Avondale, like our spirit bird, plants and animals from the Base Meridian Wildlife Area. And here's a horizontal version of the new proposed design. Again, internally lit Welcome to Avondale. This one is 18 feet tall. The horizontal elements is at 7 to 8 feet high above sidewalks or landscape, and is 18'6" wide, provided right-of-way is available for this type of sign. The elements that are unique to Avondale are the same as vertical, but this one has also included the Estrella Mountains. So here is the updated precedent analysis showing our new designs compared to those other local signs. We then studied 13 potential new locations and determined the 5 proposed locations shown here. And we avoided locations with the prior challenges we had with right-of-way, utilities, existing improvements, etc. These locations are shown in red as the new locations, and the blue triangles are installed monuments already. Here's an example of the proposed vertical monument design and its location just west of Burger King Drive at the northwest corner of 99th Avenue and Van Buren Street. Then we have a proposed horizontal design and its location at the southwest corner of 107th Avenue and Buckeye Road. Then we have a proposed vertical monument design in its location at the northwest corner of 107th Avenue and Lower Buckeye Road. And then the proposed horizontal design and its location at the southwest corner of 107th and Broadway Road. And last, the proposed location of a horizontal monument design at the southeast corner of Dysart and Thomas Road. Our current FY25 CIP has funding for 1 monument to be installed this fiscal year, then 1 monument per each fiscal year going forward. This concludes my presentation, and I'm ready for any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Rick, do you mind going back to the vertical and horizontal design so they're fresh in people's minds? Max, can I start with you? Any comments or questions?
Thank you, Rick, for the presentation, and I appreciate being able to see the difference. I noticed there weren't a lot of other cities that had the Welcome To tag on their signs. Did we see any other in the study, or maybe the vendor would know? Maybe Adam could share with us if Welcome To is a part of those signage.
I know that there is a Welcome to Goodyear sign, so that is one, but Adam? Typically no. So, yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
Curtis?
Rick and group, I just want to thank you. We've all been here in Avondale for a long time, and I can remember years ago coming back on Thomas and 107th with an old piece of plywood up there that had some colors painted on it with a big A on it. That got demolished, which I was grateful for. These really look great. You've done a good job in pulling this together, and I appreciate all that. This so the people know where Avondale starts, where they're coming to, and what they can expect. So I appreciate that. The designs are great. And like I say, it's something that's a little bit warming as they come into here. They'll know exactly where Avondale is, and I think that's what we all want. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Curtis, thank you for that. Councilmember Solorio?
Rick, thank you for the presentation. Thank you, Kim. I like all of them. I think they all look very nice. They're very sharp. I like the natural features to it. I like the dragonflies. I like it all.
Thank you. Tina?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Rick. I love the size. You know, that was one thing that we had talked about, is how small the ones that we currently have, and that we wanted to kind of beef it up, and you guys definitely did a great job at doing that. Can you go back to the locations, the proposed locations? of some of the signs. I know that we had talked about it was mentioned when we were discussing signage is to have something like on Indian School in 99th or Thomas in 99th. I guess kind of where the location Councilmember Curtis had mentioned there was previously one. Was that something that we would be able to consider adding to those areas?
Council member, Mayor, Vice Mayor, yes, we certainly could consider those locations. At 99th and Indian School,
Yeah.
I think it's the Parkside development, they're putting in a wayfinding sign on the corner.
Okay.
So I mean, we could analyze another monument too.
Okay, I didn't
further
know
down the
that.
road, possibly.
Okay, and then I just want to just say great job on the designs. They look really nice, the vertical and the horizontal. And thank you for the presentation. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gina. Councilmember Malone?
Thank you for the presentation. I like all of them. They look great. The aesthetics is great. I do have a quick question. The welcome to Avondale. How sturdy is the welcome to, and what's the life of that type of sign? I know that down on Western we had a monument that was out there, and the lettering was taken off. So I just want to know how long would the lettering last, and if any of those letters fell off, how do we replace them? Do we have a plan in place if that were to happen?
Yes, Council Member, Vice Mayor, Mayor. They are sort of a standard pan channel sign like you would see, much like what the signage like we have on the Boulevard garage. And so they will be durable enough to last unless they get damaged by wind or an object or vandalism. And we can certainly, they will be up there secure, but they'll be able to be replaced. So they're usually typically on a rail. If we need to, we can.
So would we already have a replacement plan in place for this if that were to happen? If the lettering were to fall off, do we have a replacement, like a fund for that? Because I know what happened down on Western Avenue with A.B. Cernas, they all fell off. Someone stole them. I don't know what happened. We had to replace that monument differently. So I just want to make sure that we have a plan in place when we put this out there, that they stay aesthetically appeasing to our community.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilperson Malone, yes, absolutely. We have our sign budget within the engineering department, and this will be one of those sign types that we maintain going into the future.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation as well. I guess it kind of was, I could hear across the dais here the the scale difference between what we have and what we're going to, and I think that's pretty impressive. I think it does the job in terms of providing that visual representation of where you are. Welcome to Avondale, those sorts of things. And I think you mentioned it, but just to double check, did you say these were lit or not lit?
Yes.
They are lit.
On this one, for example, and on the vertical, the welcome to Avondale will definitely be internally lit. And then on the vertical, some of the elements of the graphic will be internally lit too.
Okay. Well, again, I'm just really happy with the scale and the improvement on size. I think it's going to make a big difference. And as mentioned by many of the other council members, aesthetically appealing, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Rick, can you go forward on when you get to the installation part, what the schedule looks like? There we go. First question is, when we look at Indian School and 99th Avenue with the big development on the southwest corner, they're going to put up their wayfinding signs, their signs that reflect their community. Is there a way to incorporate some of the design elements with this? Instead of putting up another sign that would stand next to it, is there a way to incorporate our designs with theirs and just kind of do one sign?
Well, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member, that wayfinding sign will be an Avondale wayfinding sign.
Okay.
So that'll be the prior presentation where we have the blade signs and the Avondale logo and the purple and the green.
Yep.
With that sign will be an Avondale wayfinding sign.
Okay. Secondly, is there an issue with a wayfinding sign? You mentioned earlier in your presentation that right-of-ways, some things that get in the way of us putting up a wayfinding sign at 99th Avenue and Thomas. So if I'm heading west on Thomas from the 101 and I cross 99th Avenue on the north side, the northwest corner, is there, have we tried to put a wayfinding sign there before? Because that's the south side of that same development. Not the same development, but that long stretch of residential.
Yeah, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member. I can't recall specifically, so we'll have to take a look at that. But yeah, we can certainly entertain.
It's right across from Holy Cross. It's
a location. Yes.
Yeah, it's for me because Phoenix is there. It'd be nice to have a wayfinding sign there. I think that's what Councilmember Condi was looking at also. When I look at the budget, what is the cost for one of these wayfinding signs?
Estimated cost is ranging from $80,000 to $120,000.
Okay. I would ask, and I know why we put it in the general fund the way we do, but I would ask going forward that council consider if there is extra funds available to speed up the process, that you speed up the process on this. Not all 7 signs in 1 year, but just as we go forward, if we have the ability to do that, let's go ahead and look at doing that.
Mr. Mayor, to clarify, we'll put that in next year's strategic plan budgeting process, but also know we do these signs, we do the wayfinding signs, and then we also look for monument sign opportunities. For example, we're doing the one at Dysart and MC85 this year. We're hoping to do one on Dysart up at the college, possibly next year. So we also look for these larger locations for monument signs. So even though we currently have that one budgeted, we're having additional signage added to the city.
Perfect. Anybody else? Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that.
Great. Thank you.
Marshall, item 3, number 3 is unscheduled public appearances. Do we have anybody who has indicated online or filled out cards?
Thank you, Mayor. I have not received any requests to speak.
Item number 4 is consent agenda. Correct? I'm sorry, item
4.
3, yeah, 4. It shows on my screen item 3. That's why I was just.
Oh, that is our mistake. It is item 4. Thank you.
You're fine. Are there any councilors who wish to have an item removed from consent agenda for separate consideration?
Yes.
Councilor White?
Yes, can we move item C, please?
Item C? Can I get a motion on the consent agenda minus item C, please?
I motion.
I have a motion from Councilmember Malone, a second from Councilmember Solorio. Marcel, are we doing voice votes?
Thank you, Mayor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Council. It passes unanimously. Councilmember White?
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor. The Safe Streets and Roads for All grant acceptance, I was wondering if we could take a look at that. I know sometimes we get a lot of feedback on the roads and how things are going here in Avondale, and I just was really excited. I want to thank City Manager Corbin. I want to thank our staff. I also want to thank our engineering department for what we're going to be doing. This is how we plan out the future of Avondale, and we've gotten a grant of over, I guess, $500,000. Let them take over. They got it from here.
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember White. This item is for a presentation on the resolution for acceptance of a grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation. This resolution is, I said that already. The Safe Streets and Roads for All grant is also known as the SS4A grant. This funding helps communities develop plans, policies, and improvements for safer people, roads, and vehicles, appropriate vehicle speeds, and improved post-crash care. The SS4A program funds 2 different types of grants. The first type is a planning and demonstration grant for comprehensive safety action plans, including supplemental safety planning demonstration activities to create an action plan, or AP. The second type of grant is an implementation grant to implement strategies or projects identified in an existing action plan. The City of Avondale submitted an application in July of 2023 for the first type of grant, the planning and demonstration grant, specifically for a safety action and demonstration plan. The grant has been awarded to Avondale with federal funds in the amount of $560,000 and a city match of $140,000. Per the grant application, the first phase is for a consultant to assist the city with the action plan, or the AP component. After the action plan is finalized, the second phase can commence for implementation of a few minor demonstration projects from the AP. So with that, I'm going to turn it over and let Raj talk a little bit about a slide that he's prepared with this grant information. Go ahead, Raj.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. This grant is actually, like Kim mentioned, it to create an action plan for the city to identify a heat map. What I mean is that to identify accident-prone areas in the city to mitigate and make the streets safer for our citizens. So we applied this grant in July 2023, and we are currently going through the agreement process with the US DOT. Our goal is to create an action plan to make to bring down the number of severe and fatal accidents to zero. We have also got some money through the process to demonstrate some minor projects through the outcomes of this study. So we are looking forward for this to receive this grant money from US DOT.
Well, I'm so grateful that we were able to do that. Raj, were you a part of the process to submit the grant, or?
Yes, I was part of
the grant writing process. And if there are any findings, would you have to go back and seek another grant for implementation?
We are going to, after the action plan is completed, if there are major projects found in the process, we may go after the implementation grants.
I really appreciate the assertiveness in saying we are going to, because it just makes sense for us to kind of thread the needle and then pull it all the way through. I know we get a lot of feedback from our community about the roads, traffic, being stuck in congestion, and being able to move throughout Avondale. So we just want to make sure people know that we're getting federal assistance to do that, and we got the right people on team already. Thank you so much, Mayor. I'd like to go ahead and move that council. A motion to adopt Resolution 1084-0824, accepting grant funding from the U.S. Department of Transportation for the Safe Streets and Roads for All program in the amount of $560,000. B, to be authorized and direct staff to take all steps necessary to cause the execution of the agreement and to carry out the purpose and intent of this resolution. And C, authorize the mayor and mayor, city manager, city attorney, and city clerk to execute the necessary documents.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilmember White, a second from Councilmember Nielsen. Marcella?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Raj, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kim, thank you. Ron, item 5A, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Up next, we have a presentation from Josh, our Code Compliance Manager, on mobile food vendors.
I asked Ron to bring this up. We were going to discuss this a couple months ago, and it got delayed. I asked Ron to bring this up just because I don't remember the last time this council talked about this issue. I'm having a hard time remembering when council talked about this issue at all. And as you see more and more food trucks, you see more and more ways where Avondale residents are choosing to dine and how that process works, I thought it made sense to get an update from staff and see if council has any input on looking to modernize our ordinances on this or just keep them the same way. So, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Joshua Perez, the Co-Compliance Manager for the Office of Public Safety. And this evening, I'll be discussing with you mobile food vendors and the co-compliance process and how we address concerns. For a mobile food vendor is defined in our ordinance as an establishment readily movable that dispenses food or beverages from any vehicle. Now, just to be specific on the word vehicle, we take that definition from the ARS Chapter 28, that the vehicle must be permitted to operate on a public highway. So your food trucks, your food trailers, even your common passenger vehicle would still qualify and fit into that definition. Vehicles that would not would be your push carts, any type of bicycles, or unlicensed golf carts would not qualify under that definition of a vehicle. In October of 2022, our Chapter 13 of our City Code received an update that no longer requires a mobile food vendor to have an Avondale business license issued to them in order to operate within our city. There are specific districts that mobile food vendors can operate in. These listed here as far as commercial office district, neighborhood community district, community commercial district, freeway commercial district, a commerce park, and general industrial. Mobile food vendors can operate in city parks as long as they have an issued permit from the Parks and Recs Department. Also, mobile food vendors cannot operate within a residential zone or any areas within a 250-foot radius of a residential zone. So, for example, if they were operating in an approved location, they still would have to meet that 250-foot requirement distance from a residential area. There are some specific prohibits that vendors have to follow. Some of those are they cannot park and operate from unpaved surfaces. All their access areas for customers and parking for customers also has to be paved. They cannot sell or park anywhere where street parking is not permitted, and they can also not sell within a city right-of-way. They cannot provide canopies, tables, or chairs, and cannot utilize displaying freestanding signs or portable restrooms unless they have an approved special event permit issued. There are additional requirements that the Maricopa County Environmental Services does require for mobile food vendors to have. Those are permits and certificates issued by their division to operate and sell. In regards to our process and how we address, code compliance does respond to all service requests, and we proactively make contact with mobile food vendors when we find them operating in non-approved areas. On weekends, the Avondale Police Department will also assist when those concerns are made through their non-emergency line. When we find those in violation, our code compliance officers will first educate the vendors. We have a brochure that we will provide. The brochure is available in both English and Spanish. And after educating and giving the information, we will request that they just voluntarily leave the area. When we receive concerns from mobile food vendors that are operating in an approved location, additional steps code compliance officers will take. We'll contact with the property owners or the property managers and just let them know that there's a mobile food vendor operating, and if they are fine with it, if they give permission, they can make contact with them, or if they don't, the same. We'll ask them to make contact with those mobile food vendors. They have the opportunity to ask them to leave the area if that's what they choose. We will also monitor those locations ongoing just to verify that the mobile food vendors are no longer returning to those specific areas that are not approved. We will sometimes receive requests from areas within Avondale where we have county islands. When we do get those requests, we do collaborate with the Maricopa County Code Compliance Division, and we'll communicate those concerns. And also with our sister cities too, we'll make sure we bridge those communications with our residents when they have those concerns with those locations. We will request to see if the mobile food vendors that are operating have their issued permits or certificates from the Maricopa County Environmental Services Department. If they don't, we do gather as much information as we can, and we will provide that information to Maricopa County Environmental Services for them to follow up, and then our code officers are available for them if they have any questions as well. Some additional steps that we take when we have to address with mobile food vendors operating in areas is, for example, we have one specific location where we may have addressed one mobile food vendor, and then the following week there's a different one. When we see that kind of a pattern on a specific property, we will then reach out to those property owners and just try to work with them, and we will get them in contact with the Avondale Police Department to have them complete an authority to trespass. And through that process, we will also ask that they install a no trespassing sign, which is also required. That will assist the police department in enforcing no trespassing on those locations, and again, act as a deterrent to prevent further mobile food vendors from occurring in those specific areas. Through our process of addressing mobile food vendors, if there are instances where we have a mobile food vendor that chose not to comply, or property owners not wanting to comply with our verbal warnings, or even if we issued a notice of violation, we would address those with court action, and all violations of the Avondale zoning ordinance are deemed guilty of a misdemeanor. These are some statistics to date that we have. So vendor concerns is the request type that we utilize through AviWise to address mobile food vendors. For our current year, we've received 9 vendor concerns through AviWise, and code compliance officers have initiated 5 proactive cases where we've viewed violations. And to date for this year, we've only issued 1 notice of violation. In 2023, we had 11 vendor concerns submitted, and we opened 7 cases proactive with no notices of violation. And in 2022, we had 12 vendor concerns with no notices of violation. Also, to date, we have not had to issue a civil citation to any mobile food vendors. And I hope with these numbers, it just shows that with our co-compliance staff, they are excellent with customer service and educating with mobile food vendors and getting that cooperative and voluntary compliance for them to leave the areas if that's the issue. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time, and I'm open to any questions that you may have.
If you guys don't mind, let me take the lead on this a little bit and then get feedback from council. Joshua, when we talk about the law changing in 2022, the ordinance, what was the previous ordinance? Do you remember?
I would have to research that previous one, but the specific change was because they're not considered a fixed location, they are not required to have a business license.
Was that because I don't remember that? Was that a council-initiated change?
That was a resolution that was passed for chapter 13.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Council changed that at our request because the licenses require background checks, and we do not have the capabilities to do background checks on all the number, because it wouldn't just be this group of people, it would be other types of businesses as well. So we defined a business as having a fixed location to need a business license. People were assuming that we were vetting all the people with the business license, and because we weren't, and not capable of getting it, sometimes they were done with their business before we ever finished the background check.
So let me tell you a couple of my concerns, and would love to hear from council. There was an article in AZ Family Today and KTAR. Maricopa County officials say more than a dozen recent illnesses reported are connected to unpermitted street food vendors. Okay? I think it's up to government to be proactive on issues and not reactive. And we can drive just east of the Avondale boundaries on Thomas Road and see what happens on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We don't have that issue here. And I'm the first to say that. But I think, for me, there has to be more than relying on Maricopa County to vet people who have food trucks. My idea of a food truck is the picture that you have there, the cartoon that you have there. It's a truck that is either remodeled or purposely built to prepare, cook, distribute food within a certain health guideline that is set aside by Maricopa County. It's to your point, it's not a gentleman or a woman riding a pedal cart selling food out of a refrigerated box. It's not a person in a minivan or a pickup truck with a cooler selling breakfast burritos or breakfast sandwiches somewhere on a street corner. Those are the things that concern me. Those type of vendors concern me. The second part that concerns me has to do with economic development, and I'll give you an example. If I drive through the Home Depot parking lot anywhere from noon to 5 o'clock any given day of the week, I will see one or more vendors parked in that parking lot selling food out of their push cart, out of the roll cart, whatever that is. When there's restaurants that have gone through the permitting process through the city of Avondale, have gone through all our rules and requirements, and someone is 200 feet away undercutting their business, I find that unfair. I also find it unfair when I see locations that are purposely set up near restaurants to attract those businesses, to attract people away from them. So I'd like us to firm up the rules on what we consider a mobile food vendor and go from there. I think the other part is when I look at Maricopa County's definition of a food vendor, mobile food vendor, there's 3 different categories. I don't know if we have to get that far in depth, and I'd rather have staff do that work than have council do it. I think you're the experts more than we are. But I think we have to punch up those designations from what we have now. There are places in Arizona and places in the Southwest where cities designate a certain area for food trucks. And they may do some minor improvements to a lot. They may put gravel down. They may put in portable lights. They may do something and say, okay, 3 days a week, we're going to allow food vendors to come here and sell. I'd like to see some kind of work done on that. Not every day. It may not fit with what we're trying to do, but I'd like for us at least to explore what does that look like. We've talked about that on the boulevard. Maybe it makes sense where the volleyball courts are at right now. We've got 2 vacant lots where the lake is at. I don't know, but I'd like council in the future, and this is going to go beyond my tenure here. It is. I'd like council to kind of look at this in the future and say, does this make sense? The area that concerns me that's not addressed in this at all is commercial kitchens being run out of residential areas. And I can go on social media right now and give you 2 examples of what's happening in our neighborhoods where people are advertising food being prepared in their residential kitchen for people to come and pick up. I've been involved with, this sounds bad, involved. I've been a part of 3 fires in commercial kitchens. And I know how bad they are. I know how easy they start. Even under the best circumstances, those fires start with the best of cleaning and everything else. Residential kitchens are not designed to produce commercial food. They're just not. I would like to see us do more along with that. And I'm not looking to penalize anyone who's doing that. I think if you have the ability to be successful at a home-based business, selling food or drinks or whatever you're selling, it may behoove the city of Avondale to get in contact with you and say, listen, maybe the next step, work with a small business advisor, maybe the next step is for you to open up a business in Avondale. But we can't have you do what you're doing here. You can't advertise on social media, have a commercial operation in a residential area, and then have people show up at your house to the tune of 50 to 100 people a day picking up food. I don't think that's right. So those are my concerns on this, more from the health and safety aspect than it is from the revenue. I don't really care about the revenue part of it, the sales tax. I don't care about that. But when I read stories about Maricopa County now trying to catch up and now starting to penalize unlicensed food vendors, to me that's what they're, sorry to our friends in Maricopa County, that's a failure of government not to be proactive. So I kind of want to go down the line.
Mr. Mayor, though, if I can, I need to clarify a couple things so that I can
you're fine.
More direct the conversation. First is we're not able to enforce the permitting of food stuff. That's Maricopa County. So we can't require the food license. We can't inspect for their food license and then enforce anything on their food license.
Are we talking mobile vendors or commercial kitchens in residential?
Either, and I would argue that the kitchen in a residential area is not on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
It's not something that we came prepared to talk about. I don't know that that would be necessarily Josh's purview, but we'd have to work that out.
Okay.
A couple other things. State law prohibits us from prohibiting locations other than in residential areas. We'll work with the legal team to come up with that. So your examples you gave of being in a commercial district, we may or may not be able to even limit. So the state law has several years ago preempted cities from fully limiting mobile vendors. I mean, we can get direction from council and come back with the possibility, but I just want to lower expectations that our authority to do some of the things you are suggesting is limited. And then the current law already separates the things you said you didn't like. So out of the carts and those kinds of things are already not considered a mobile vendor, so they wouldn't be a permitted use anyway. So the biggest thing that it sounds like we'd have to come back if all of council wants is the locations. And I'm just, the way I understand it, and again, I'm not the attorneys, we'll have to come back to you, is that we're not permitted other than residential to ban them from commercial areas. Landowners can trespass them, which Josh referred to reaching out to them. An example I was given was the parking lot of Arby's and QT. You know, they're selling breakfast food right there next to Arby's, undercutting Arby's. But until the landowners tell us they don't want them there, we can't evict them from there. So again, we'll take direction and we'll come back to council, but I just wanted to make sure that there may be some limitations by state law on what we can and the county rules of what we can enforce and what we can pass. But stay tuned.
And I appreciate that. I think what I'm getting at is, again, being more proactive on, because when I look at what the law is written, and while we ban, what we don't ban is we consider a mobile food cart anything that can be driven on a freeway, okay? And someone selling breakfast sandwiches out of their van at 6 o'clock in the morning, to me, is not a mobile food vendor. That's someone preparing those foods in their kitchen and then putting them out there for sale. I don't think that benefits the city at all. The bill that passed the legislature this year and the governor signed was the cottage food bill, which dealt with things along lines of cakes, cookies, things along that line, fundraisers. I'm not talking about touching that at all. And that was part of HB 2509. I'm not looking at touching that right now. I think that bill, and I don't have information on the bill that you're referring to from years ago. The bill that I'm looking at and the bill that I researched over the last week allows a certain flexibility from cities, but also to work with Maricopa County or the county that's involved. I guess I'm looking for a solution to a potential problem that may not exist. And I'll be the first one to say it may not exist yet. But it exists out there. And I'd like to see council take action. Now, if the council in the future says, you know what, we're going to get information back from staff and we're not going to do anything about that, that's fine. But as long as we looked at the issue and said, okay, we're comfortable with where we're at right now and where the future takes us. But I'd like to get some input from council. And Ron, I appreciate your input. I really do. Max, any thoughts?
Can I go last?
Yes. Curtis, any thoughts?
Vice Mayor?
The thoughts just on locations. I noted a couple down here. If an HOA wanted to have a food truck come in there, do they have to get a special permit for that HOA to do that or bring them in?
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Nielsen. Yes, they do have the opportunity to submit a special event application with our Parks and Recs department to be able to have a mobile food vendor, attend an event. And of course, with those, they would include a site plan and they can show where if they can have tables and chairs. But those circumstances would be allowed with a special event permit.
Okay. The second one was, again, the same type of thing about schools. If you know, I remember during COVID, the schools, Littleton brought in a couple of those at different places to take. School would be the same type of thing.
Yes, Councilman Nielsen. And again, the same thing with businesses. If a business wanted to host an event out in their parking lot, such or anything like that, they would be able to submit a special event permit. That would, with those site plans and approvals, they would be able to have those types of food trucks with.
And I guess just the third one here comes with the new park, wherever it might be, the city park back here. There's supposed to be a driveway or a gravel, whatever, for food trucks. Can you ever have too many food trucks? I mean, if that place was set up for 5 and you got 10, how do you determine who comes, who can't, who does, or you rotate around?
That's where they would go through our Parks and Recs department. They do have a park vendor permit and a process. And for example, they are doing a program with one of the parks at Mountain View where they're allowing to have a mobile food vendor attend at certain days of the week. And they communicate that with my division. That way we're aware of it. But yes, that is a process and application that they can apply for through the Parks and Recs department to be able to attend city parks, city events, and things like that.
Thank you. That's all I've got, Mayor.
No, those are great questions. I appreciate that. Gloria, any comments? Tina, any thoughts?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Josh, for the presentation. Well, full disclosure, I love food trucks. I love when cities have food trucks gather. They come. It gives you a great selection, whether it's, vegan food, hot dogs, Mexican food. And I thought that when we built Festival Fields, that was something that we had planned on doing in Festival Fields. Like in the back, we had an area, and that's something that I've never seen us do. I think having food trucks safely and doing things the right way is important because, for one, it's a great gathering place for our community. And it's very popular. Surrounding cities do it. Again, I just want us to do it safely, and I want to make sure that that we support some of these local vendors, these food truck vendors, because they can't afford to set up a brick and mortar.
Agreed.
And I feel like it's a great starting place, for us to develop a relationship with them so that they can maybe eventually transition to someplace within our city. So I'm all for these food truck vendors, just in making sure that we provide a place for them, a safe place for them to gather. I get it that it has to be paved and we have to go through the process, but anything that we can do to support them, again, for me, it's a great place for the community to gather, to have all the food trucks together. I guess now we have to figure out where that might be. But we had this discussion when we built Festival Fields. That was one of the places we were going to do it.
Agreed. Councilmember Malone?
Yes. Thank you for the presentation, Josh. My one question is what Councilman Nielsen said. So when a school or a school district or an organization wants to bring out food vendors, they have to go through the city to get a license to get that done?
It's not a license. It would be, Councilmember Malone, it would be a special event permit, and that's where they would submit that with our Parks and Recs department. Again, with those special event permits approvals, they could operate within those residential zones, and they would be in compliance with that special event permit and approval.
Is that happening now?
Yes, we do get organizations that do submit for special events, and they would let us know if they have mobile food trucks and things like that. So no, that is a process that goes through our department as well, where I would get those notifications and advise my staff to let them know that we have approval for anything that goes on.
Can we get a count of how many organizations actually do that at a later date, please? Also,
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Malone, the special event permits are not just because it's a food truck. We have a whole list of qualifications. Right. It's a large event. So they don't need a permit if it's legally allowed to be wherever it needs to be. But often they need those permits because of the event. It's not allowed on city property without a permit. So if you're going to do it at the Aquatic Center or one of our parks, we actually highly encourage it. We love to partner with them. And that's why you would need a special permit for city property. So it's many reasons you might need that special event permit, but just being a food truck alone is not a reason for the permit.
Thank you for the clarification. The second thing the mayor had mentioned is somebody selling burritos out of their car at QT. I'm going to tell you, I'm a soccer mom, a football mom, and all kinds of organizations that I dealt with my children. And a lot of the times I know we're fundraising, right? So we're doing that as a fundraiser to help fund, whether it's a football team, a soccer team, or at one time I even went to the La Jolla parking lot to buy burritos from the fire department because they were doing a fundraiser for their organization. So we got to really pay attention.
And I agree with you. And the new law that was signed by Governor Hobbs this year specifically calls out those type of situations where you're preparing those foods at home to sell them in a situation like you're talking about. The issue that I'm talking about has nothing to do with fundraising. Because I think you're right. I think it's fundraising. If you're doing something where a church is getting together and they're saying a member of our congregation,
absolutely,
right? A member of our congregation has passed away, and we're going to have something at someone's home and help raise funds for the funeral. Absolutely.
So you can't really. I mean, I think this would be for a later discussion because there's a very fine line, and we could get ourselves. We just need more information. Thank you for the presentation, and I'll leave it there.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Oh, no, go for it.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. Thank you so much, Mayor. I thought somebody was going to grab it. Thank you guys for grabbing everything else I wanted to say. But there's one thing I have to say that I'm totally busted on the second time today. But do you need a peddler's permit or special permit to have an ice cream truck?
Councilmember White, in checking with Finance Department, the ice cream trucks wouldn't fall under the peddler's permit. My understanding is, as far as, because it's not a fixed location and they're constantly moving, anytime we do get a request in regards to ice cream trucks, we would refer those to the police department because they are moving. They're not at a fixed location. They're not parked and staging in any specific area. So, again, we would just refer that to the police department to verify and review.
No comment. Great presentation, Josh. Thank you so much.
Mike?
Thank you for the presentation and keeping in line with the food trucks. First, one is a question and the other is a comment. The question first is that I see that that there's some information being shared on AviWise in regards to I forgot what it's worded, but
the request site. Yes.
I'm assuming somebody calls in and says there's a truck down there selling food, or what typically do you see as being a complaint, a major complaint?
Anything we would take anything that's submitted through AviWise, or if it's called in. Typically, what we will gather is, there's an individual selling food. We would go out first and just see if the location they are selling is an approved location. If it is an approved location, and again, that's where we would take that extra step and just make in contact with that property owner or manager on site, just to advise them. And if they had any concerns, we would let them know that they have the right to tell them to leave if that's what they choose to. However, if it is a violation, we find that location is not approved, that's where we will make that contact initially with that mobile food vendor. And then we monitor the area afterwards just to make sure that compliance is being met.
Okay, thank you. And then the next would be, I appreciate the education piece that's provided, regardless of what happens with the outcome. And so with that being said, I think one thing that I would like to see moving forward is, and it kind of falls in line with something that Councilwoman Condi said, is maybe adding a list of the approved areas that the city is providing, whether it be festival fields. I know we've even talked about here across the street from the pool, having a large sidewalk that would go across. And so in addition to providing that education piece, is also offering an option, an alternative of, do you know that on these nights, or do you know that you can, sell your goods out of your food truck at these specific locations? I think at some point do we have that already?
We used to have it on Sundays at.
Oh yeah, yeah. So maybe it's in addition to just Sundays. Maybe it's the city allows for the service to be provided, whatever days and whatever times. But I think that would be helpful too, because as we're telling them and educating them on why they shouldn't be there or what they need to be there, we can then turn it around and say, but on a positive note, you can go on these nights or on these days or these locations, and you'll find them there after that, because after all, the community does benefit from their service. So I think in addition to the education piece, I would really love to be able to provide them something that demonstrates where they're able to sell their goods. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, though, I want to add a couple things to that. We do not have a standing location that someone could just come set up. They would have to go through the special event permit process, or we're hosting, or we partner with another organization to host. So we can put them in contacts, or we can give them the information to Parks and Rec and get on our distribution list. So when we're going to do an event, we send it out to vendors so that they can know that they can join that program, whether it's at Festival Fields or Friendship Park or the Aquatic Center or eventually Civic Center Park. We can give them that information. But just to clarify, there's no city park that they can just show up at and set up. Now, currently, they can go to any commercial district area that the owner would let them set up, and they wouldn't need a permission from the city of Avondale. But you would need to go through a permitting process to set up at any park. You wouldn't just be able to show up on a Sunday and set up.
In addition to that permit, to clarify, that the city provides the opportunity.
Yeah, we'll provide them our
Yeah, it may not
contact
be
information
sanctioned,
for Dominic's in the audience there. We'll make sure we have the ability to provide them that, and better yet, to get on our vendor list so that when we are doing an event or we are partnered with another group to set these kinds of things up, that we actually can reach out to them.
Yeah, I just see that as a good give and take, the education piece, but also the fact that, because I will tell you, working with many business owners who own food trucks, not all municipalities are as kind to them. And so that's where I'm coming from on this, is that we're providing them opportunities to become a vendor, what have you, that just kind of flips what could be a negative interaction. I'm just trying to prevent that.
No, I thank you for that, Vice Mayor Pineda. With the flyer that we do provide, we do have the specific districts on that flyer, and that's part of the process of our education, is letting them know about those specific districts. And also, we do have our phone number on our flyer too, and we let them, if they ever had any questions about a specific location, they could always contact our office. We'd be more than happy to provide that customer service and information to them moving forward.
So let me give you another example here. When we talked about building the volleyball courts, one of the things that I brought up, one of the things that council nodded their head about, was when the weather's nicer and the weekends are happening, we might have music out there, we might have food trucks. That's city-owned land where I take that back. I don't want to assume. If I drive behind New Penny and I've got apartments to my right and the volleyball courts to my left, and on a Friday and Saturday night where it's really nice and we've got people out there playing volleyball, if we wanted to invite food trucks out there and they're parking on the street or on the area that backs up to the sports center, because there was a wide concrete pad, and I think we were told at the ribbon cutting that, hey, we can back up food trucks here. If they're parked on the street, is that legal or illegal?
Mayor, it would depend on the nearby residential too. They would still need to have that 250-foot distance requirement, even if it was on the street. So
you see what I'm getting at
here? That's
here?
the other thing we would consider, but again, we would want them to cooperate.
So, Mr. Mayor, what we would recommend is getting a special permit from us. We're talking about hosting tournaments and working with folks. We would permit that. So we would find a way to block off an area. We would, especially if it became a regular Friday night event or a regular Sunday afternoon event. Our Parks Department is we're working towards that, and we would actually invite them, get them on a list, and bring as many out as we could. So again, with the special permit, we can find exceptions to some of those otherwise restrictions, and allow them to gather where we want them, which is at our volleyball courts.
And I guess my last thing is when I look at your comment about we don't really have any enforcement capabilities when it comes to the handling of the food and everything else. For a mobile food vendor, they have to go through the state and go through a process to register their business, to register what they're doing, and there's certain criteria because they are a food vendor that the state requires. Their next step is the county. And the county has their steps that they go through. Are there any other businesses in the city of Avondale that need to be permitted either at a state or county level that the city looks at and says, we go in and inspect to make sure that it's safe and they're following certain codes, certain city codes? And I'm just, because Ron, you and I have talked about this. Again, I don't want to punish food trucks. I want them to be what they're doing. I want them to be successful in what they're doing. I'm just trying to head off what just happened and what happens quite a bit across the country. And maybe it's not an issue with us, and maybe I'm way ahead of my skis on this. I'm just trying to make sure that we're proactive in what we're doing and not reactive.
Mr. Mayor, I appreciate that you're trying to keep our public safe from health crises, but what you're talking about inspecting that causes the health issues is the health department. We don't have that staff trained in that area. When we permit things for events, we look at our fire team looks at to make sure it's safe. Our building team looks to make sure that it's not going to be dangerous for construction. But just the person that stops at the Home Depot parking lot and sets up shop with their permission, we don't inspect there to make sure they're wearing gloves or the temperature of their food or making sure they're using safe practices. We don't have a health department inspector here at the city of Avondale.
Would we check to see if they had a Maricopa County food permit?
We would, and if they didn't, we would report them to Maricopa County. Okay. Correct, Josh?
Yes, and that you touched on that in your presentation.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
Mayor.
I look forward. I think it's going to be in the next few months probably, but I think kind of punching up some of these things and kind of see where council wants to go on this, I think is important. Veronica, looks like you're going to say something. Okay. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. I really do.
Very much for your time.
Ron, next item, please.
Mr. Mayor and Council, something just as exciting as our food vendor policy there is our pavement management program update. And looks like we get Harold and some other. Kirk's sitting back on this one. He's gonna enjoy the show. We have Harold, our Assistant Director of Public Works, and Gustavo Garcia, our Pavement Program Manager.
Sorry, I don't want to touch the screen. Are we good? No. Well, as they put that up, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Harold Siwensa, Assistant Director of Public Works, and here with me to tag along on this presentation is Gustavo Garcia. He is our Pavement Program Manager with the Public Works Department.
You know, Mr. Mayor, our staff are usually nervous presenting to you folks. Usually we like to add to the stress by, making little steps, make them wait a little bit longer and see how much they actually sweat. No, I was waiting. He was getting ready to start.
Okay, so here we're here to present our Pavement Preservation Program update. Council received an update to the Pavement Preservation Program in January of 2023, so we're here to provide a new update. In this update, we're going to discuss why the City of Avondale conducts a pavement preservation program and why it's important for the city. What is our approach to the pavement preservation program from planning and how do we communicate and work with our residents? What the results were for fiscal year 24, what the current plan for fiscal year 25 will bring, and what the future will look like for pavement preservation here within the city. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Gustavo to talk a little bit about why we conduct pavement preservation within the city.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, I'd like to read a quote to you from the Federal Highway Administration. It is a timely application of carefully selecting surface treatments to maintain or extend a pavement's effective surface life. Pavement preservation does not include new or reconstructed pavements or any activities that significantly increase the structural capacity of an existing pavement. This quote aligns with our program in implementing cost-effective treatments and applying those treatments to the right roads at the right time and extending their lifespan. This allows us to have a positive impact on our program. Types of treatment. On the left-hand side here, we have a list of treatments. On the right-hand side, we have 3 photos. The photo on the left-hand side of the photos is a crack seal. The photo in the center is seal coating. And the photo on the right is actually a surface treatment that was completed. All these photos, by the way, were taken here in the spring here in the city of Avondale as we were finishing up our program. The list of treatments is arranged by cost and robustness. This list allows us to select the correct treatment, the most appropriate treatment, based on the asphalt condition. It is our goal to apply the most cost-effective treatment to the right road at the right time. This allows us to have a successful program and allows us to have a positive impact on our program. The key point on this is to have several treatments here. That's the key point of having a successful program, being able to allow us to apply the right treatment or the appropriate treatment to the different conditions of the asphalt that's out there that we have right now. Applying the right treatment to the right road at the right time. This features 2 graphs here. The left graph is a newly constructed road that has a 30-year lifespan. You can clearly see by the year 15, it declines, the condition of the asphalt start declining rapidly. Between 15 and 17, you move from fair to poor. At this time, your rehab treatments are very costly and they're very minimal. The appropriate time and the optimal time to put a rehab treatment is at the top of the curve. The right-hand graph here indicates a road, a new road that has a pavement. It is under a pavement program. The orange curve indicates of when we should apply the initial first treatment. That's between year 2 and 3. The following blue curves are the maintenance cycles. The first one is a short one, a year to 2 years. That's the fog seal. The next 2 are seal coats. They're going to be a lifespan of about 2 to 3 years. The fourth one, you can see it has a flatter line curve. That one's more a robust treatment. It's going to be like a slurry, a micro. The key point here is by applying a maintenance program to your asphalt, you can keep it and maintain it from good to very good by spending minimal amount of money. This model is a successful model of a pavement preservation program. That's our goal here. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, I now turn it over to Harold.
So within Public Works, we want to make sure that we're being cost effective with our treatments and how we're applying it to our roadway network. And so how do we apply that to our current program? We use our current roadway condition assessment that was conducted by IMS Consulting at the end of calendar year 2022 as our baseline. That condition assessment report indicates and shows us the condition of the roadway at that point in time in 2022. So we use that currently today as our baseline to help guide us in what roads we need to be treating today and into here the near future. Not only do we utilize data to help us guide the direction we need to go, we also use city staff and their feedback. Our city staff are on the road every single day. They know the conditions of the road. They know when something changes, and they provide that information back to our pavement program manager, Gustavo, so for us to be able to identify and be able to treat it as quickly as we can. And we also receive a lot of information and feedback from the community, from our residents. Again, our residents they probably drive the same road every day, 3-4 times a day. And so they know when something happens to their road, when it changes, if there's any new stress, any new cracks, any new potholes. We want to make sure we're taking that information, because the condition assessment that we have is a point in time, And so the road may change and will change. It may deteriorate. There could be more rain events. There could be heavier traffic because of development. So we want to make sure we're keeping up to speed, not only with the information, the baseline information that we have, but also feedback from our community. So how do we apply that into our planning? Our goal is to minimize the impact to the community as much as possible. Unfortunately, road work will be an inconvenience to some extent to all of our residents, and obviously to each one of us here driving on the roadways. For our neighborhood roads, for this past fiscal year, we started to use full road section closures in our neighborhood. The first map that you see is a map of Crystal Park Estates. This work was just recently done this past fiscal year. You see two different colors on the roads, a blue or purple and a yellow segment. Each one of these represent a full street segment closure on separate or different days. So what this does is for us is it allows our contractors to work more quickly within that particular area and only disrupt the residents that are directly affected by this road for about 10 to 12 hours in one single day. If we did half-street closures, it would affect those residents twice for about that same amount of time, for about 10 to 12 hours. So one of our goals is to ensure that residents have access to their homes, whether that's a short walk, short distance to their homes, but we also try to perform their work during the day. So hopefully they're at work or they're at school, so we're minimizing that impact, starting later in the morning and try to finish as early in the evening as we can. So hopefully it's a very minimal impact to our community. Also, we're very strategic with these closures. We try to ensure that there is access for public safety if there is an emergency. So we want to ensure that there is access for our public safety organizations as well. In the areas where a full section road closure is just not feasible, we will move to a half-street closure. Again, we're not trying to box in our community. We're trying to ensure there is an exit and entry point into the community at all times. As we move to our collector and arterial roads, we perform three different types of operations, either lane closure, moving operations, or work at night. So lane closures will cause some additional traffic on our arterial roads in our collectors, but again, we do not close the entire street at any given time. Moving operations, there's only a few types of treatments where this is applicable, such as crack seal. For crack sealing the streets, it doesn't require us to fully close a lane for a long period of time. It's just for a short period of time, and our contractors can continue to move through that street. Night work. We also want to see, in order to minimize traffic, we will also consider night work as well. Unfortunately, that does come with some additional noise at night. So if your home does butt up against your backyard but is next to an arterial road, you will hear some noise. But again, that's part of that trade-off. Do we have more traffic or do we have some noise? So we try to look at every scenario differently and independently to try to come up with the best solution. Additionally, we work closely with our engineering department. They approve all of the traffic control permits, so we ensure that we receive their feedback as well with any type of closures that we are trying to perform. So I talked about what do we use in order to make our plan? How do we implement that plan when it comes to our residents? So lastly, how do we communicate that to our residents? So how? We use various methods, and we work real closely with our marketing and public relations team to create all of our pamphlets and information that we give to the community. So first, we post on social media, Nextdoor, Facebook, Instagram. Our marketing and public relations team put those posts up for us. So they do a great job in trying to provide that information to the community. All of our project schedules are on Avondale Connect, so a resident can be able to go to our Avondale Connect website and be able to see all the road work that's being conducted. We also, our marketing and public relations teams conducts press releases. The little clip you see on your right where it says slow down, that was media or a press release that was put in the West Valley View this past May. We also provide residential door hangers and road signs to the affected homes where there will be a closure. And we also provide a project information phone line on there as well. And that just goes straight to Gustavo's office number so that if there are any questions, he responds to every single one of them. And lastly, boots on the ground. Gustavo's out on the streets when those projects are occurring. So if there ever is a resident that may have a concern or a contractor gets stopped by one of our residents and has questions, they reach out to Gustavo and he gets there as quickly as he can to answer any questions that the resident might have. Continuing with our communication, I talked a little bit about who do we communicate, but I want to go into a little more detail. Of course, our residents, we provide all the information to our residents. We reach out to our HOA managers as well to ensure that they're receiving the information, and then they disseminate that information through their newsletters or however it is that they may communicate to their community. So we ensure that we're working and providing that communication to them as well. We also provide our information to our school districts. We want to make sure that if we are impacting any of their logistics, picking up children to and from school and their home, to identify if they need to change where their bus pickup will be, if there is any changes needed from there. Our business community, if there is a road closure or lane closures that might affect them, we want to ensure that they are aware of what's happening. The United States Postal Service, we want to make sure mail is still delivered in a timely manner. And we also communicate with internal city operations. Our public safety teams, fire and police, we work with them closely, letting them know where these closures may happen, just in case if they receive a call for emergency services, they know that there might be a closure in that area and how to be able to work around that. Additionally, we work with our engineering department and internally within Public Works, our CIP group that also may be performing other work throughout the city, and we're trying not to impact the community as much. And when do we communicate? Each one of the communication methods have different timelines on when we send out the communications. Project schedules on our Avondale Connect website, we try to push it out about 1 to 2 weeks prior to the start of work. Our residential door hangers, 2 to 3 days before work starts. That's strategic. We don't want to give it too early nor too late. Too early, you might forget. You might put that flyer away. You might throw it away and not remember when that might happen. Too early or too late, we might not give that resident enough time to make accommodations for what they need. So we figure 2 to 3 business days is when we like to give out those residential door hangers. Social media, same thought process, top of mind, 2 to 3 business days before the work actually happens. So that's top of mind for our residents. And with our school district and business communities, we try to give at least 3 to 4 weeks of notice so that if there is anything in our plans that we may have missed or may not have thought of, they can give us that feedback and we can make adjustments as needed. So applying how we conduct our work, this is the fiscal year 24 results. As I mentioned earlier, we are using the IMS consulting plan that was developed in 2022 as our baseline. For fiscal year 24, it called for just a little over 33 lane miles to be treated. They were all neighborhood roads, and at a budget of $3 million that was approved by council during the budget process, but only utilizing one single treatment type. The results for fiscal year 24, the pavement preservation program was moved from engineering services to public works. In January of this year, 2024, we hired Gustavo as our pavement program manager, and he had 4.5 months to complete those 33 lane miles. And we did complete those 33 lane miles, but at a total cost of just over $1 million. And the biggest difference is the various treatment types that we selected versus the one treatment type that the consultant report provided for us. With that savings, we were able to conduct some additional work. Again, time was of the essence. We just wanted to make sure we were able to do something that we were able to complete within the fiscal year. So we moved forward and resurfaced the Jimmy Johnson Drive, Indian Springs Road, right in front of the Phoenix Raceway, at a cost of $700,000. So just shy of an additional 10 lane miles that we included into the program. And that was strategic, as you will see here in the next couple of slides. We wanted to make sure that Avondale Boulevard was nice, new, pretty, from I-10 all the way down to the racetrack, except for the small piece of Maricopa County roadway that is part of Maricopa County's roadway, but the ones that we control, we wanted to make sure that it was nice, new, looking nice from I-10 all the way to the racetrack. So that brought the total to just a little over $1.7 million, bringing it up to just shy of 43 lane miles completed in fiscal year 24. For fiscal year 25, the original plan, as I mentioned earlier, called for about just shy of 47 lane miles at a cost of $3 million, which was approved by council through the budget process. Again, we're taking a different approach in regards to the different treatments that are required for each one of these neighborhoods. And we're adding several neighborhoods, but I want to highlight 3 specifically. We're adding Glenarm Farms, Westwind, and Rio Vista as part of the program for fiscal year 25. So those neighborhoods will be treated this year. So that will bring our total lane miles to just shy of 70 lane miles that we will complete. We're utilizing the $3 million that were approved for fiscal year 25, and we're using some of that savings from last fiscal year as carryovers to complete this work. Additionally, you've seen probably some work being done on Avondale Boulevard recently. You've seen, and we're going to be resurfacing Avondale Boulevard from I-10 all the way down to Broadway, to the intersection, except for Lower Buckeye and Avondale, where that's a brand new road, so we're not going to touch that, but that's nice and new. But the rest is going to be resurfaced. We are also bringing our sidewalk ramps into ADA compliance. I think you've seen some of that work just right out here on Avondale Boulevard outside our Civic Center. We're also adding a bike lane buffer onto Avondale Boulevard to give some additional space for our bikers and provide some safety for them. And that's approved, $2 million funding through the CIP that was also approved by council during the budget process. With all that said, what does the future look like for our pavement program? Public Works recently awarded a contract to a new vendor to provide ongoing pavement condition assessment and to also provide a pavement management software. We're utilizing the CIP dollars that were already approved by council with some of those savings that we are seeing to pay for this new, for the software and also for the ongoing assessments. This fiscal year, we will complete a citywide new assessment, so another new baseline for us, and we will use that to create a new 5 to 10 year plan that we will come back to city leadership, to finance and budget, and to council to present on what that new program will look like moving forward. Additionally, we will also we'll do yearly evaluations of our roadway network in segments. We haven't figured out exactly if we'll do it in thirds or in quartiles. We're still working through that plan, but every year there will be an assessment of some part of the city to ensure that we're keeping up with our roadway network and it's in good condition. Oh, and one thing I wanted to say, I'll go back a couple of slides. This past fiscal year in 24, we closed the street to about over 2,000 homes, and we got just over 20, I believe it was 20 inquiries. One was a complaint, but overall 20 inquiries in regards to those closures. Most of them just wanting to know information, when is it going to happen, how long is it going to take. But for the most part, we didn't receive that much negative feedback when it came to the full road closures, which I thought that was a success. With that said, I will answer any questions, and Gustavo as well.
Tina, any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Gustavo. Thank you, Harold, for your presentation. I did have a couple questions in regards to the door hangers. I know that the front part that you showed us was in English. Is the reverse side in Spanish?
Yes, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Yes, it is both English and Spanish. Yes.
Great, thank you. One thing I just want to add to see if there's something we can do. Oftentimes when we do have these closures and we have cones up, we have tape up, I feel like we can maybe do a little better job of removing those, because as I drive around, I see, hey, I know this was paved, a few months ago, and some of those things are still there. Is that something we can kind of try to work on?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Conde, yes, we work real closely with our contractors to ensure that the traffic control setup is done properly and as well removed in a timely manner as well. If we ever do see a contractor does not remove it in a timely manner, we ensure either we reach out to them. If it's a single cone or something, we'll make sure we remove it ourselves too. But yes, we will make sure that they are removed in a timely manner.
And we had a cool pavement project, didn't we have something like that recently?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Conde, yes, we did have a cool pavement test site, yes.
Okay. And can you remind me what the results and the data was from that?
What I was, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Conde, the test results were inconclusive.
Okay.
In regards to what we believe it could have done for the community, meaning reducing heat in the area. So the results were inconclusive. The Arizona State University came out and conducted the study, and the results came back as inconclusive.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good job.
So, Tina, we're not the only city. Phoenix stopped their cool pavement program a year ago, just same reasons. So, Councilmember Malone?
Thank you for the presentation. I do have a quick question. The ADA compliance, is there a slide on that?
I don't, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Councilmember Malone, I don't have a slide specifically on ADA compliance. I just have that we are, all the ramps on Avondale Boulevard as we're resurfacing, we are updating those ramps to today's ADA standards.
How much of the city is ADA compliance and how much of the city is non-ADA compliant?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Malone, a study was conducted by the engineering department, I want to say about a year or so ago, and I think there is a report out, and I don't have that information in regards to that, I believe.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Malone, we can get you that information. We have done that study, which is why anytime we do a significant reconstruction on a road, we do update our ADA ramps. But we'll get you that number.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you, Councilmember. Max?
I really appreciate the presentation, Gustavo and Harold. Anything where the wheels go around, I'm really excited about it, and so I'm really happy about how the pavement's being treated. I'm happy we're no longer doing that project from ASU. The cool treatment didn't work out. I am a resident who's experienced kind of the go park on the other street. You can't get to your driveway, so you've done a great job. I've gotten the door hanger. It made sense. I had enough time to kind of move my car, so I do appreciate that. I think the only concern that I really was thinking about is, it's really not a concern, it's a commendation. You had enough wherewithal and sense to go ahead and do Jimmy Johnson Drive in one of the areas where we get to show off and highlight the city the most. So I just want to commend you for finding an alternative way to kind of still use that and highlight Avondale Boulevard all the way down right into the front of the Phoenix Raceway. So great job, great wherewithal. I appreciate the spending plan. I know that Mr. Corbin likes to save money. So it looks like we're able to do that here as well. Thank you. Great job, gentlemen.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Curtis?
Harold, thank you so much. I do want to appreciate you and the staff. We had our street done, I think, about 10 months ago. And my wife says, it's going to be forever to get it done. And I think it was done in about 3 or 4 days. You really surprised her. I guess the question I really have is with all the roads that we have out there, some are older, some are newer. And that first graph that you put on there, I don't remember half the life at 40% after 10 years or 12 years or something like that. You said something about software, and my mind goes to software and input of this information. Will that thing right there, will this be able to at least, look into the future and say, okay, we put this in 2000. It should be done again in 2022 or 2025. At least it gives you a base, and then if there's some problems with what the community comes up with, you got a spot check and whatever. But I'm assuming that that's what that software is all about, so that in the future we will know what needs to be done ahead of time, and we can do the planning. Is that the purpose of the thing there?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Neal, so that is correct. The software will allow us to be nimble in regards to when and how we should be treating our roadways. Not to get too complex into the software, but yes, we do put the condition percentage or number that will receive the score. And then based off that score, we can apply different treatments to it as it comes to second year, third year, fourth year, as the road unfortunately does deteriorate after time. It's just part of what it does. So yes, we are able to add this specific treatment, and once we do add a treatment, that score goes up, to which then kind of resets, as you see here on the blue curvatures here. It resets the condition of that road or the score of that road. We're able to monitor it, and after it gets to a specific point in time, reapply another treatment on it, cost-effective treatment to ensure that it stays at optimal levels.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's good.
Thank you, Curtis. First, Laura?
Thank you for your presentation, both of you. I just had a question out of curiosity. When you're looking at the different ways to treat pavement, the seal coat and the crack seal, what's the difference? Or does it just depend on the street itself? Is there a longer life with one or the other? Because I had looked into the crack seal on how they did that. Is that where they, it says pressurized on the bottom and they let it cure?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Solorio. Yeah, crack seal is basically, think of it as a very hot liquid that basically just fills in the crack. Mm-hmm. That's what it just seals it in. So there's no pressure, it's just applied and it just falls right into the crack. When it comes to the other seals, I'll let Gustavo talk. He's a subject matter expert on that. So I'll let him kind of discuss that a little bit.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember
Solorio.
The crack seal is probably the most effective treatment you can do. Okay. If you don't have any budget, that's probably the one you want to pick all the time, is a crack seal and apply that to. For the main reason, like you said, it seals up the crack from the bottom up and lets the water not get in there. That's your first part of deterioration, is when the water gets into the subgrade, you start getting raveling, you start getting potholes, you start getting different deteriorations on it. So the crack seal is probably the most important one. That should be applied all the time. And the new road is applied right away, probably the first, second year. You want to put that on there just to seal up all the cracks and make sure that no water gets in there and penetrates in there. Your seal coats depend on the variation of deterioration you have in it. You might have some crack, you might have some block cracking, you might have some severe longitude cracking, depending on what it is. That'll determine on what kind of treatments you're going to put onto it. So, but the main purpose of the crack seal is one of the biggest ones you want to put in. And then after that, then you go ahead and you start. The program will look at it, and then I'll go look at it, or the team will look at it, and we'll determine on what we're going to do, if we're going to put a seal coat in it, if we're going to go put in a slurry or a micro. It all depends on what the deterioration part of it and what that pavement index number is. Okay. If it's a low one, you definitely want to put something else more than just a crack seal like we did on Jimmy Johnson. We put a cape seal on. We put a chip seal on it first, and then we put a micro on it for aesthetics and rideability. So there's a lot of variables that go into determining what treatment we're going to put into it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Mine's more of just a comment in regards to the professionalism that we have in this department. You mentioned subject matter expert. I mean, if you look at the budget and the amount of money that was saved, and even in that, just looking at prevention, looking at maintenance, and when, as it says here, to apply the right treatment at the right time, it looks like the department, as a department, you are coming out ahead on that. And as policymakers, it's not only important for us to convey the message that roads are important to us as a result of working with the community, but more importantly, being able to be cost conscious. And so by implementing some of these treatments early, utilizing the software, I think we're definitely on the right track. And even more impressive is the fact that over 2,000 streets, 12 inquiries or something to that effect with one complaint. Progress often brings pain, but at the same point, it sounds like everything kind of went pretty smoothly in the grand scheme of things. So I appreciate this, looking at a long-term view. More importantly, I really appreciate the fact that we're being cost conscious here. So thank you.
Ditto. Thanks, guys.
Of course. Thank you.
Council updates. Councilmember Condi?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to take this time to recognize and to congratulate Councilmember Malone. So this weekend, she received the President's Volunteer Service Award. And the service honors individuals whose service positively impacts communities in every corner of the nation and inspires those around them to take action too. So she was presented this award this Saturday, and I just wanted to say thank you, Councilmember Malone, for all that you do and how you impact, I love that, communities in every corner of the nation. So congratulations. Thank you.
Veronica, any comments on that?
I was very surprised. It's a lifetime award that's awarded from the president. I got a letter from the president and a medal of honor, a medal from the president of the United States. It was done through CNN and Dorn Maxim, and there was several of us leaders. Well, one of the leaders was also Buckeye's mayor, so he was there along with about 10 to 15 of us that got either a Lifetime Achievement Award or a Gold Medal Award.
And where was it presented?
It was presented out in Buckeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. So you were nominated then?
Yeah, I was nominated, and I got the Lifetime Achievement Award. So I was very surprised. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Amy, want to top that?
Who's going to state conference?
Yeah. State conference starts tomorrow. We'll see you there. Who's going from council? Okay. We'll see you there. There will be an update on Prop 479 without getting too much into it and violating state law. We had a meeting last week. It was great. It was a roundtable. You'll start seeing more polling data come out. I'm getting the look from Nicole. You'll start seeing more data come out from separate companies not affiliated with the city of Avondale. So thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn into executive session?
To adjourn to enter into executive session.
Yep. I have a motion from Councilmember Malone, a second from Councilmember Solario. Marcella?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
We are adjourned.
For those who are listening online, the meeting is over. Council are going into executive session and will not be back out. Thank you. Have a good night.